Good morning. As we were studying the methods of sampling, in that we had covered the three methods of sampling. Now, today we will start with the fourth method of sampling, that is the systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is the method in which units of the population are numerically, geographically, and alphabetically arranged. First item of sample is selected randomly and every nth item of the numbered items is selected as a sample item. See, what we do in systematic sampling, first of all, we will arrange the whole universe in a systematic manner. We can arrange it either alphabetically, or we can arrange it numerically, or we can arrange it according to different regions or geographically. Okay, after arranging the entire universe in certain manner, what we do, we will first select the first sample randomly. For example, if we are having 100 items in our universe, we will select one item randomly from the first 10 items. We can select the first item, or we can select second, third, fourth, any of the item we can select. For example, if we select randomly the fourth item, then now what we will do, we will select the next item at equal interval from the fourth item. That is, fourth item is the fourth number of the entire universe. Now the next item that we will select in our sample will be the eighth item, that will be at the fourth number from the first item. Now the next one will be the 12th item. Likewise, we will select it in the same manner after every third item, or we can say every fourth item we can select in our sample. So what we do, first of all, we will arrange the entire universe into a systematic manner, and then we will first select the first item of the sample randomly, and from that we will select the samples at equal intervals from each other. Okay, now coming to the merits and demerits. The first merit is, this is very simple method to follow. It is very simple because you have to just arrange everything, and the first item is selected randomly and every nth item is going to be selected in the sample, so you do not have to make much efforts. And the second is, this method is free from personal bias. This method is free from personal bias of the investigator, because as we know, everything is arranged in a systematic manner, and also the first item is selected randomly, so there is no chance of personal biases or likings or dislikings of the investigator to be included when he selects the sample. For example, if he has to select any particular item, or he don't want to select any particular item, but it is in that it is in that particular order, it is coming in that particular order, then he is forced to select that sample. For example, first sample he has selected is the fourth item that he has selected randomly. In that also he cannot do any personal biasness. Now he do not want to select the eighth item, but he has to select it because it is coming in that particular arrangement. Okay, so here the personal likings and dislikings of the investigator are not included. Now coming to the demerits, first is every item in the population does not get equal chance of being selected, as only first item is selected randomly. We know that all the items here are not getting the equal chance of being selected in the sample, and we are selecting only the first sample on the random basis, and all the other samples are selected uh, at regular intervals. For example, if fourth item is selected, then fifth, sixth and seventh item do not have any chance of being selected in the sample, as only the eighth item will be selected in the sample. And likewise, the 9th, 10th and 11th item also do not have any chance of being selected in the sample. only 12th item will be selected. So all the items do not have equal chance of being selected in the sample. The second is, this method cannot be used if all items in the universe are homogeneous. If all the items will be homogeneous, it will not be possible to arrange them in a particular order. For example, the names of the items of the universe are same or the numbers are same, so how can we arrange them in a systematic manner? So this method cannot work in that condition. Now coming to the fifth method, that is the quota sampling. Quota sampling is somewhat equal to the mixed, or we can say the stratified sampling. What we did in stratified or mixed sampling, we used to divide the whole universe or classify the whole universe into different groups based on the similar characteristics. But the only difference over here is that in quota sampling, when you form the different groups or classify the whole universe in different groups, you fixed a certain percentage that is to be included in that particular group, that the certain percentage of items to be included in that particular group. And when you select the items from that particular groups, you fix a certain limit of items or a certain number of items that you are going to select from that particular group. So in this way you fix quotas for different things. Where we have a very simple example of like we are having quota in different educational institutions for different categories. Okay, so they have fixed a particular limit of selecting the students in that particular quota. Okay, so this is known as the quota sampling. Now coming to the merits and demerits. Merits are, this method is not very expensive. We know this method is not very expensive. We have to simply classify the whole universe into different groups, and we do not have to study each and every item. Also, we have fixed a certain percentage for that. And the second is, data of different characteristics are included in sample. Data of different characteristics can be included in sample, as we are dividing the whole population into different groups having the different characteristics. Now coming to the demerits. High risk of personal bias at the time of classification of universe. See, we have studied that the quota is fixed at a certain percentage, and when we classify the data, we fix certain percentage of including the items in a particular group. So at that time the investigator can include those items that he likes to include at in that particular group. Okay, so here there comes the personal biases at the time of classification of universe. And the second is, results becomes less reliable. Results of this method become less reliable because of the personal biases of the investigator, and also the we have fixed a certain percentage and we are not including all the items. Okay, now the last is convenience sampling. Convenience sampling is that method in which the investigator selects the sample which suits to his convenience. According to his convenience, he selects the sample. The items that are conveniently available to him, he can include them in his sample. Okay, this is not like purposive sampling, because there he used to add those items which were best for his study. Here these items may not be best for his study. He is just selecting the items that are conveniently available according to his convenience. Okay, for example, if the students are asked to collect data about other students, then they will collect the data about those students who are their friends. Okay, whose contact number are with them. So whatever is available to you conveniently, if you are using those items in your sample, including those items in your sample, then it is known as the convenience sampling. Now coming to the merits and demerits. It is very simple method. Convenience sampling is very simple method because we have to select the sample according to the convenience. This method is least expensive. You do not have to do so much expenses to reach each and every item. Only you have to approach the items that are conveniently available. Demerits: it is unscientific and unreliable method, because you may select the samples that do not represent the universe in the fullest manner. And the second is, it involves personal bias of the investigator. Here the personal bias is uh, very common, because as the data is collected according to the convenience of the investigator, so it is simple that he will be biased in selecting the items in his items in his sample from the universe. Now coming to the reliability of sampling data, how can we check the data is reliable that we have included in our sample? What is reliability of sampling data? See, the reliability of sampling data means that characteristics of universe are fully represented by the sample. Whatever sample we have selected, or whatever items we have included in our sample, they fully represent the characteristics of the universe. For example, there are different age groups, there are different genders, plus there are different educational qualifications. So all this information must be included in your sample. It must not be like that only the different genders plus different age groups are included, but the different qualifications are not included. A good sample will include everything, every characteristic of the universe. So the following factors decide the reliability of sampling data. First is the size of the sample. If the size of sample is very small, it will not be able to represent the whole population clearly. For example, if I am studying 1,000 people and I am picking only 10 out of them to study, it will not be possible to show the characteristics of the whole universe of the 1,000 items as a whole. So at least it I must study 100 items out of 1,000 items. Okay, so the size of sample also determine the reliability of sampling data. Second is method of sampling. Whatever method we are using, as we have studied the 6 methods, out of which whatever method we are using must suit the study of or our inquiry. And the third is bias of the investigator. The data will be more reliable if the investigator is less biased. Okay, the lesser the biasness of the investigator, the more reliable will be the sampling data. And the last is training of the enumerators. Enumerators are the persons who collect the data. If they are properly trained, and if they know how to collect the data that is best suitable for our study, then the data will be automatically more reliable. So these are the points to check the reliability of sampling data. With this, we finish our chapter 2, that is collection of data, from our unit 2nd. And in the next lecture we will be starting with the new chapter. Thank you.